looking back at the fall of a president based on the hit podcast, the new docu-series Slow Burn looks back at Watergate, a politically tumultuous time not unlike today. I have the opportunity to speak with Leon Neyfakh about this new series. He's a political reporter and host of both the TV series and an award-winning podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
So tell me about this series.
Yeah, so Slow Burn was started at Slate in 2017 as a podcast about Watergate. We wanted to look back at this crazy time in American history and ask ourselves, what was it like to live through that? Waking up every morning, not knowing how it was going to end, how it was going to turn out, and were there any similarities between then and now in terms of the experience of being a regular person, absorbing all this news every day and trying to keep up with it? We also wanted to really kind of take a fresh look at Watergate. This is a story that everyone thinks they know. Everyone, has seen All the President's Men, or they've absorbed it through osmosis in some way. And what's interesting is that we just forget so much. And what I realized very quickly doing the podcast is that there are so many incredible sort of subplots to this story, so many incredible characters that don't necessarily get passed down from generation to generation. Someone like me, who wasn't alive during Watergate, had never heard of Martha Mitchell, who is the subject of our first episode. It's an incredible story, and she's an incredible person who I want more people to know about. And so that was sort of the animating spirit of the show and of the docu-series that's coming out this Sunday.
Have you found that there's a renewed interest, per se, in Watergate?
Yeah, I think so. Part of what prompted us to think about the project in the first place was that we just kept hearing references to it on the news. Everyone was invoking it as a reference point, as a comparison point, usually in shorthand. There wasn't a lot of detail given. We just sort of all know, right, that Watergate was this presidential scandal in which the White House had to face off against the special prosecutor who was investigating him for wrongdoing and for a cover-up. And so we wanted to sort of dig deeper past that sort of shorthand, and definitely the interest was there. We realized right away that people were really primed to hear this story. And I think part of the reason why was that it gave everybody an opportunity to sort of think through what was going on in the present, right? Sort of process current events without hearing everyone's names that you hear on the news all the time, right? It's a way to sort of provoke yourself to think about all this stuff, but it lets you do so by hearing a totally different story. And I think that was a relief to a lot of people.
And really understand and become more knowledgeable about that entire political process.
Yeah, and I think you learn that that there's certain kind of immutable laws of gravity in politics that are just consistent from one political scandal to the next. If there's a special prosecutor in place, you can bet your bottom dollar that there's going to be some kind of face-off between the president and the prosecutor over document production or witness testimony. And that's sort of what we've seen over and over again as we've done other podcasts on political scandals. We did the Clinton impeachment more recently. We just started doing Iran-Contra under a new show called Fiasco. And yeah, it's just very obvious to me that there are certain just patterns that continue to reassert themselves. No matter the administration, no matter the party that's in power, it's pretty remarkable, the parallels that you shake loose when you look back.
Well, and speaking of those patterns, in this docuseries, you also focus on other presidential impeachments.
Yeah, so we basically did it season by season, right? So the season that this docuseries is based on was all about Nixon, and it was 8 episodes all about Nixon. And then for the second season, which followed a couple months later, we did the Clinton impeachment. And yeah, it's a kind of a, I think what brings them together, besides for just the subject matter, right, is our approach to storytelling, which I think is really on display in this TV show. It's really amazing to watch kind of some of our ideas about how to tell a story, how to build a character, how to get people excited, and really how to make people want to see the next one, want to know what happens next when they know how the whole thing ends. It's amazing to watch that adapted, that approach adapted to TV, and so adeptly. And I think, that's sort of the big challenge with this. It's how do you convince someone that a story in which they know that that Nixon resigns at the end is going to be exciting to watch? And the answer is there's just so much unfamiliar and so many cliffhangers that you can put in, if you just restrict yourself to this perspective of a person watching it unfold in real time before they know the outcome, which now, in retrospect, may seem inevitable to us.
definitely looking forward to seeing this. Where can we get more information, and when will it premiere?
So it's premiering on Sunday on EPIX. You'll have to check your local listings for exactly what time, but it's Sunday night on EPIX, and it'll air for 6 weeks, starting on Sunday on EPIX.
Well, perfect. Well, thanks so much, Leon, for talking with us today. Definitely a fascinating issue, and really looking forward to learning more about all of these political scandals and impeachments and such.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.